Let's spend the next few minutes talking about PFAS. Those forever chemicals have already been found in remote water and have been linked to some big health issues. Because of that, just a few weeks ago, the EPA said it is going to start limiting just how much PFAS can be in your drinking water, like they do with lead and arsenic. But with a name like Forever Chemicals, that comes from how notoriously persistent they are in the environment. You might be wondering, how do you even control the amount that's in the water? So Gordon Severson went to a water treatment plant in St. Paul to find out.
We're here at St. Paul Regional Water Services to learn more about how they take water from the rivers and lakes and turn it into clean drinking water you can use at home. We begin with this 3D model that shows where the water comes from.
2/3 of our water comes from the Mississippi and 1/3 from the watershed around Lake Vadnais.
The water flows to their treatment facility in St. Paul, where the treatment process begins.
First, we're physically removing everything we can physically remove from the water.
They fill up these large basins and add chemicals to the water. Those chemicals bond with the various particles that are floating in the water, so they're easier to remove. Then on to the next step. Where are we at right now?
So we are in one of our 4 clarifier units. By the time we get through the end of this process, we've got nice clear water.
The water comes in here, and this is where all of those bonded particles drop to the bottom. When the water leaves this step, it looks clear, but it's not quite ready yet.
So we've reached the filtration step.
The water slowly goes through these filters. You can't quite see them, but this is what they look like out of the water. After this, the water moves on to the final step of the process,
where we chlorinate the water. That kills off bacteria, viruses.
But while this process is great at removing most contaminants, it can't remove PFAS.
They are so difficult to remove. They're just very chemistry lesson. They're very complex and tightly bonded.
General Manager Patrick Shea says most water treatment facilities aren't removing PFAS either. In most communities, the PFAS levels are so low that it doesn't have to be removed. So most facilities don't even have the ability to do it.
If testing revealed that there was high PFAS somewhere out in Minnesota, what would be the options?
So reverse osmosis, which is it's just a fancy filtration technology. The carbon systems are essentially, carbon is an adsorbent material, and PFAS particles will stick to that carbon particles.
Shea says both osmosis and carbon systems are incredibly expensive. Here in St. Paul, they're already in the middle of a $250 million rebuilding project, which doesn't include any new upgrades to remove PFAS.
I think a full-scale PFAS removal would be in that same ballpark, another $250 million.
Some communities that do have high levels of PFAS are already looking at these costly upgrades. Shea says St. Paul and other communities are hoping to avoid them, doing testing and hoping the numbers stay low. Now, if these PFAS requirements do eventually get finalized by the EPA is giving these water treatment facilities a few years to comply with these requirements because they'll need it. They'll need a lot of time and money to make these necessary improvements to reach these new levels for keeping PFAS out of our drinking water.
They're also talking about PFAS over at the state capitol. There are 4 bills currently making their way through the legislature. The governor's budget also has $45 million set aside to deal with PFAS.